Okay, we're going to get to the administrative aspects of the class. We'll spend probably about 5 or 10 minutes on this as we wrap it up, because there are a number of things for those that are just listening on the acoustics that we talked about here. So, your homework. Your homework, I'm going to look for a good outline once again, covering that review part number 1. If you did that right on the homework from last week, just copy and paste that. Have the tables there. Just show me that you know everything correctly here with that review. I could tell from the folks here in class, when I was going over this, it seemed like you guys did understand this. I doubt you had everything exactly right, though. I think you had a few minor things, but just put that in there. As far as this stuff, this is going to take some organizational skill. You're going to have the outline. We did a lot of asthma offshoots here. But once again, if 3 years from now, how many of you are planning 3 years from now to be in graduate school? You're in graduate school. Take notes in such a way that you might be able to bring those notes back. I promise you this stuff comes very important in graduate school, so write good notes that really reflect that you understand the idea and that I can see that that is indeed the case. So we got that, number 1. The other thing that we're going to have, so that's going to be worth a lot of your points for this. I believe if you go on clicking on the discussion boards, I've got an article. No more talking about yourself. I have put up on the discussion board a little Tausman article, and I believe I put it in under the introduction. So I'm clicking it on introduction now. I'll see if I can pull up the article. Yeah, it's attached there. So this is a publication of mine from Clinical Nursing Research. It wasn't the 98, 99, but we kept doing our asthma research, and we got it better, I'm happy to say. So it's a publication, and what I basically want you to do is look through and read through the intro, method, and results, and see if you can make some statements about things. It was what we described here. This is just the intro. Not going to ask you to really critically appraise anything major here, but it's really the results section. So let me just go for that here. And you guys are usually pretty good chatting in a discussion board way. So, this is what we actually did. What I would like you to do is tell me, number 1, we looked at that, didn't we look at a table a couple of weeks ago with that article? How was that table? Judge my tables. Tell me if you think my tables are any good.
Is that a trick question?
Yeah, kind of ish. Look at my statements here. Tell me if things were reported right. Show that you understand the logic. Can you see there a T of 20, 2.195, P equals 0.04? Did I report things correctly here? Am I writing things properly? Obviously, you're going to find that hopefully I know what I'm doing here. The reason I chose this article, though, is because when we look in future weeks at things, people are so terribly incompetent at doing what you're going to see, I think, here. So I wanted to give you at least a decent baseline. So we put results in here. So just talk about some of this and talk that you understand what's going on here. The other thing that we talked about at Jefferson College a couple of weeks ago is, do you know where you're actually supposed to summarize all your real-world conclusions, what you found in terms of your study? The first paragraph in the discussion. So even look in the discussion and see, did I actually summarize things well? And I basically want you to try to do a little critique of this. So what I basically put, let me go back to the discussion board here. I tried to make this pretty loose for you, to like say something intelligent. I might actually have to add it now. Did I not say something? Maybe I put it up in the general. It's basically to post and share some stuff. So let's see. I have an article on asthma. Oh, that's not the right one.
It's all in that Tausman article.
Yeah, I think I thought I said something here. I'll have to add something, but the idea is go into the intro, method, and results and see if you can just read it, see if it makes sense, say something insightful, try to respond to at least one other person. So I would think you'll have a minimum of maybe 6 things to say, 3 of your own, and then, I think Whitney is full of, well, we can't say that. I agree with Whitney, I don't, this or that. So just have some conversation, and hopefully you'll find it somewhat interesting and amusing. Did you say you saw it in there?
Just click on that.
Right on this thing?
And then see you've got your 3 different things.
But those are the,
Enter method and results. And you said here, say, enter method and results. Here, say something.
oh yeah. I put it actually as the thread, didn't I? Oh yeah, here you go. For the introduction, you can either evaluate whether it was well written or you can state a couple of major points you got out of it. So just read through it, say something intelligent, and respond to somebody else. For the, thank you so much. You've had some experience with these with me, haven't you? Same thing with the method. Say something about what I was up to, evaluate it, evaluate the writing and the results. Obviously, I'd like to have a little bit of discussion there as well. So that is your homework for this particular week. Let's talk about then the future weeks and what's going to happen here. I think what I would like to do next week on the acoustic tape, we're going to actually have, and so next week is going to be what the, what is it? Good, it's right. It's going to be July the 3rd. On July the 3rd, no face-to-face, obviously. It's right before July the 4th. I'm going to cover how to do something called an analysis of variance. So that's going to be that week. And actually what I would like to do is the following week have one more content-based lecture acoustically. That would be what? July the 10th? That would actually close off what we call the one-factor ANOVA. And so what I would like to propose here, and since we have 4 voting members here, is I would actually like to propose the next test would actually be on the 17th as far as the key date. Would that be okay with the folks here in class?
Yeah, July 17th, there's no face-to-face, that would be the test.
I think I'm officially going to say I'd like to make that the test situation. That would work best for what I'm going to cover in the next 2 weeks in terms of the learning, if that's okay with you folks. So that would, no face-to-face. We don't want to have a test face-to-face. Right. So the next test, if it's okay with you folks, given the barometer here, the next test would then be on July the 17th. If that's okay, number one, would that be okay with you folks? If that's okay, number one, then the other thing, and we were talking about this in the class, is the rules for that test. So the rules for that test then would be the following. The class said that it was very difficult to do the test in the right amount of time here. Certainly that test will be at least equivalent to this one. We have a lot of content in past situations. It's been like that. Why don't we officially say then that we will open the test officially then on the Sunday before that, if that would work for people. On the, what would it be, the 14th then? Morning. It'll open up. Yeah, well, since I'm Jewish, I don't go with my wife to church, so sometimes Sundays are bike ride days, but then I would open up the test. So it will be open on Sunday, July the 14th. It would be due on Tuesday, we would say by 8 p.m., so I could get some grading. After that, that would actually make our next face-to-face, if we could, I think in an optimal way, kind of at the same point in time as it was this. You're going to get a lecture after that class that will probably move things up a bit, so it would probably be best to have the face-to-face on what, July 24th, is it then?
Yeah, the next week would be.
So we'll have a face-to-face, if people can make it, on July 24th, and at that point we'll actually cover something called the two-factor ANOVA. The last lecture for this class, which will be acoustic, will be correlation and regression, and that would be on August, help me out here.
Well, the conference
what's the first Tuesday of August? No.
The first Tuesday, the 7th. The first Tuesday in August? You're missing the 31st of July.
So the 31st of July then would be, so we have the test we set on the 17th. Then, thank you. Then the 24th will be the face-to-face, and that will cover the two-factor ANOVA. Then on the 31st will be the acoustics of correlation and regression, and then at the end of that we will have the competency test, which you'll have, 2 weeks to do. So it is similar to this. We're just, I started the semester 1 week later than I was thinking. Do you guys know what the end of the semester schedule officially is? I believe it is 10 weeks, though, isn't it? So would that be with the 4 people here? Is this? So that's perfect then. You'd have up to 2 weeks. So the competency situation, let me lay that out for you. For the competency situation, what you're going to get for that is you're basically going to get like 10 problems. And for those 10 problems, you're going to basically have 2 weeks to do those 10 problems. You'll actually, we've decided last semester at Jefferson College, you'll probably be given the opportunity to send in during those 2 weeks one draft of your best shot of doing those problems and having me critique, because it doesn't seem appropriate for a test like, well, send it in 7 times, and this is supposed to be a test. So in a lot of ways, it's better than the 2 tests, because there you don't get any drafts and you just have a couple of days. So it'll be kind of a summary of what we've done. So the lecture that you have on that class with correlation and regression right before it, you won't get any homework from that. There'll be competency problems. There'll be competency on the correlation, the regression, the 2-factor ANOVA, and then you'll see problems back from these first 2 units as well that hopefully you'll be able to do in terms of a smart person. Phew! So are we okay with things then? Do you guys have any questions for me? So we have said then the next face-to-face class, well, let's actually go through the weeks then, and I've got this in front of me, and I'll go home and look it up. So today is the 26th. We have said that on July 3rd, you will actually have an acoustic lecture on a 1-factor ANOVA. On July the 10th, you will have, actually, that'll be a 1-factor ANOVA plus the post hoc test. On July the 17th, you're going to actually have the test. That'll start on the 14th, be over on the 17th. On July 24th, we're going to actually cover the 2-factor ANOVA. On July 31st, we're going to cover the correlation and regression, and then you will get the competency rolled out at that point, and you'll have 2 weeks to do that. You ladies think you might be able to show up on, July the 24th? If you can, that would be delightful. If other people can join us at that point, I'll make sure I reserve this particular room. I think showing up face-to-face here certainly has its advantages, especially in this case.